Greetings once again, my friends, and welcome back to Geek News Marathon Night, where we take a particular series of anime or TV or whatever, and we go through it episode by episode, but in chunks, so that you guys can see our at least somewhat thoughts, because here's the thing, not a whole lot of things happen in a lot of these kinds of episodes for these series. I am your host, Adam Nicholson, aka Drek. I hope everybody's having an awesome day or night when you're listening to this, and also, because of this is when we're recording, Happy New Year, everybody. Happy 2024. It's almost here. And joining me is my lovely wife, Andrea. Andrea, are you excited for 2024? And also, do you have any New Year's resolutions you'd like to share?
Nope, I don't have any.
Do you even do New Year's resolutions?
Nope.
I was going to say, I don't think you've ever done them since we've gotten married. I get asked if I do them, but I kind of don't see the point. I always just tell people, like, the general thing of, like, well, I'm just looking to always be a better person every year. And then I get that look of, like, you're cheating. So, thankfully, Andrea does not give me that look. But we are back at it again, talking some more Beyblade, which, really quick, before we get into the episodes, we actually did get an interesting question about this, because we did mention it in the first episode. There was a lot of various Digimon knockoffs, all right? I know that some people will say, well, Digimon is a Pokemon knockoff, but the two big ones around that time were that. And so at that point, we had things like Monster Rancher happen. We had things like Beyblade happen. And so one question that people wanted...
We had Metabots that happened.
Metabots, Flint the Time Detective kind of counts in that. And so the question is that what... Because we did mention that you were the one that suggested it. So at that point, what drew you to Beyblade as opposed to all the others? And here's a spoiler alert, guys. She actually watched a lot of the others. But what about Beyblade is so exciting to you that you wanted to go revisit it?
It was just a nice cartoon that I just loved watching as a kid, and I wanted to go watch it again.
What about it made you love it? Because some people have theories on this. That's why I'm asking.
It's like all the others, you know, that you just see people doing competitions.
I wouldn't say it's like all the others, but go on.
No, but I mean, it's just like very similar to, like, you know, they're being competitive to be the best for everything, you know?
Yes, but the difference here is, like, we can't put Digimon in that, because Digimon actually did, like, have overarching villains and,
that's true.
and stuff like that, and they worked as a team. Then you had Pokemon. You know, Ash is basically the guy we follow. You know, he has a team of Pokemon, but it's just him. So again, I'm going to ask, like, what about Beyblade makes it so nostalgic for you?
I just love the whole they use tops, you know.
Okay, why tops?
I don't know. It was just intriguing. That's all I can say. It was just intriguing.
It was intriguing that they used tops because nobody uses tops anymore?
Well, they just find it fascinating.
Okay, let me cut to the chase here. The theory that they had was that you liked the team aesthetic. The fact that eventually, we'll talk about this tonight because it gets formed, this is not a one-man show. I mean, some people can make the argument that Ash is basically the coach of his Pokemon team, and therefore it's his Pokemon team that wins all the battles. But we were following Ash and Brock and Misty. So, like, it was a one-man show, and with Digimon, it's because of the Digidestin and stuff like that. So a couple of people were wondering if it was because of the team aesthetic, especially the four-person team aesthetic, because I guess, since we've mentioned it numerous times, you were in gymnastics, and I guess gymnastic meets run off of a similar number.
I guess it's also interesting.
I thought it was more than that, though. Like, it was like 6 or 7, because there's like 6 or 7 events for gymnastics.
Well, that depends if it's a...
Because don't you have, like, specialists in each event?
Well, that depends on if it's a guys or girls. I don't know how many events for men.
Well, you're in the girls' portion.
Well, for the girls, there's only 4 events.
So, 1 per?
Huh?
So, 1 person per event?
No. The whole team.
Okay. Because I guess the aesthetic was that since this was a 4-man team, you would appreciate that. it would remind you of other things that you were doing. I don't know if that's the case now that you've said that.
Well, and plus you have their tops have bit beasts, which is very interesting how they integrate.
Okay, so it's not really that gymnastics aesthetic. It's more of the usual stuff that we would see in shonen series like this.
Pretty much.
All right. Well, hopefully that answered the person's question. Oh, if it didn't, I'm sorry, but this is like Andrea. Sometimes you get the answer you want, sometimes you don't. So let's actually go ahead and get into the 4 episodes that we tackled this time around, which I'm just going to go ahead and be honest with people, was kind of a couple of weeks ago. Sorry. When we started this up, it was right before my holiday season, and I kind of screwed up there. But thankfully, not a whole lot happens in these episodes, and most of it is fairly memorable. Because we're still talking a tournament setting. So at that point, it's not going to be too far off. So let's go ahead and bounce into episode 5, which is one that we were looking forward to. I'm sorry, I'm looking for the title. Episode 5, Seal of Approval. So we were actually looking forward to this after episode 4 because they basically teased that Max, Tyson's new friend, was going to be going up against the former champ, Kai. And I say former, he's the reigning defending. But he was going to go up against Kai first, which means we were going to be able to see more of Kai's Dronzer, but we were also very curious about what Max would bring to the table in that particular bout. And I do know that they did a little bit of research at the beginning, but before we actually get to the fight, we have a little bit of a locker room conversation about Dronzer, and Tyson wants to make sure that Max is careful because they have to face each other in the finals. He's a very typical shonen protagonist. He wants to face everybody in the finals. If this was Goku, he'd be fighting everybody in a great big battle royale, and he'd be the happiest guy in the whole room.
Of course.
So this is funny because you don't know jack about Dragon Ball, but I can mention this, and you look at Tyson, and I think in your brain you're like, okay, so Tyson's like Goku? All right, so Tyson would probably want this too.
Mm-hmm.
Because all you need to know about Goku is very simple. He likes fighting.
Well, it's just like Ash, he wants to battle everybody.
Well, kind of.
Oh.
Kind of. Ash likes the challenge. He wants to be a Pokemon master. Goku likes fighting.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. The thing about Dragon Ball, which some people still want to have you watch to see what you think of it, the thing you have to realize with Goku is that in a lot of 80% of the time, he causes most of the problems he has to solve. Mm-hmm. And it's primarily because he wants to fight strong guys. So at that point, there's a big internet discussion right now as to whether or not Goku is actually the villain of his own series. And there's a good argument. He basically is responsible for the Saiyans coming. He is basically responsible for Frieza. He is basically responsible for Cell. And he's basically responsible for Majin Buu. So that's what I'm saying here. Back into Beyblade. But we have an interesting... So we have that moment with Tyson. He's like, I want to fight you in the finals. Kai comes up to him, he's like, no, I want to fight you in the finals. Then Kenny comes up to him, no, I want to fight you in the finals. But then Max's dad comes up and is basically like, well, it's your birthday, so here's this locket your grandma gave you out of nowhere. I'm sorry, but the RKO of the episode goes to Max's dad for bringing out a locket out of nowhere, and it actually becoming a plot device later on. So, we get to the match, and this one is interesting because they changed the Beyblade Stadium. I'm going to call it the stadium, but it's basically the bowl they fight in. They change it to where it's more of like a cake baking pan, and the whole goal of this is that you have to go to the top of the center point, and you have to sit there for 5 seconds, and the first one to do that 3 times wins, right?
Yeah.
So Max and Kai go off against each other, and Max gives Kai a little bit of a run for his money, but not a whole lot. As we find out that Max's Beyblade is built a little bit tougher than most. It's actually more of a defensive-ended Beyblade than it is an offensive one. And I think that kind of lends a peek into Max's philosophy, right? The best offense is a good defense. And so at that point, we get to learn a little bit more about Max, because up until this point, we don't know why Max has been beating Tyson, but we know he's strong. Mm-hmm. That's all we know. What did you think, the fact that he has a much more defensive, heavier Beyblade that takes a lot to be able to hit? You have to hit it hard in order to be able to get anywhere for Max, as opposed to what we've seen with Tyson, what we've seen with Kai, so on and so forth.
Well, I think it's kind of nice that you see some players that do different.
Is it nice to see a player who has a different way of looking at things?
Yeah.
Because, like, up until this point, basically all we've seen is go at him head on.
Pretty much.
I'm trying to remember if the one who captured all the Beyblades had a similar strategy, but I don't think he did.
Is his name Carlos?
Carlos, yeah. But I think his was more of an intimidation tactic, wasn't it?
Or something. It's like everyone seems to have they think that,
Well, people do have similar philosophies. I would argue that Kai and Tyson are very alike. But this is like one of those times where we get to see a kind of a different viewpoint. And actually, we did see something interesting with Kenny, where he tried to play smart and use something that was unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Because he tried to put the spring on his Beyblade. So I forgot that. But sorry, I cut you off. So you like the fact that it's like a whole different strategy.
Oh yeah, and sometimes you may think that a lot of players are like, well, why would we want to be more defensive when we could be offensive?
Mm-hmm. And I think the way that it goes is that I think Max gets the first point because no, it was Kai that got the first point because he did the whole make his Dronzer go way up into the air and then come right back down, and basically smash Max out of the center.
I thought it was the other way. I thought Max got the first one and then...
No, I think it was Kai, because remember, when he did that, Max then decided, okay, I'm going to spin my top backwards so that it matches Kai's spin, and he basically Bruce Lee rolled off his back kind of thing, and that's when Max got the point.
I guess that's true. Yeah, because maybe Max was the first to almost get the first point.
Yeah, he was really close, but then Kai basically came in and big dicked him out of the way.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's no other way to put it, guys. That's what he did. But I do remember that after that, Kai got so mad that he basically went in for a strike, knocked Max's top out of the ring, but broke it to a point where it was looking like a lost cause, and also knocked it out of the ring so hard it hit said locket and broke the locket. Gee, I wonder if this is plot convenience or something. Stop giggling, you know it's plot convenience.
I think Max's dad was probably like, that was a great present, dude.
I don't think he reacted. If they did show a reaction, I don't think they showed his.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I'm pretty sure he's like, my mom made that. Mm-hmm. But it turns out that in the locket, there's a part for a top. She want to explain to me why her grandma, who apparently was a globetrotter, had a piece for a Beyblade in her locket.
Had a bit beast.
Yeah, which contains a bit beast.
Where'd you get that anyway?
Plot convenience alley? I don't know. But yeah, so this actually gives Max, so he's able to reassemble his top, and this gives him the Bit Beast Drasil, which is supposed to be like this massive monster that kind of resembles a turtle. And I do like the CG design for this, although I do think it's a bit longer than what the actual Bit Beast can do. Because when you look at the CG version of Drasil, those arms are like clown arms, man. And I don't think those arms are that long.
Like almost like a version of Godzilla.
No, because Godzilla's arms are short. No, these are like like basically if your villain had like springs for arms, that's how long these things are. So maybe the CG department went a little overboard. But now we have kind of this final contest where now Dronzer has to face off against Drasil, but obviously it is Max's first time wielding Drasil, so he's not entirely sure of the powers. He's able to give Kai a run for his money, but then once Kai kicks in Dronzer, he then loses. Because we all kind of thought that was going to happen. Right? Mm-hmm. Kai couldn't lose. Because Kai had to be at the finals. So at that point, that pretty much wraps this up, and we start teasing for the next round, which is going to be Tyson versus the mysterious newcomer, who we've only met through faint interactions with, what is it, President Peterson is his name? Who apparently personally sent this guy out. So at that,
I think it was, wasn't it Mr. Dickinson?
Mr. Dickinson, there you go. So overall, what did positives and negatives of Drasil of approval? I think it was a good showcase of Max. I laugh at all of the plot convenience to give him a bit beast because we had to do something. But overall, I do think it was a good match because Max, even though very little was known about him, gave a run for Kai's money and actually proved to be something of a challenge to Kai. So I will overall say that I did like this. Is there anything that this episode did wrong? Maybe the mechanic that they established. It was kind of weird, but
yeah, possibly.
I mean, I didn't hate it, but it seemed kind of weird to do that. And I think that the reason they wanted to was to showcase that Max was more of a defensive player.
That's true.
So,
but it's kind of funny. He's like, oh man, he thought his Beyblade would be out of commission, but it's like, oh, I just needed to fix the piece and
also my locket, my grandma's locket gave me a most crucial piece to be able to fight in this battle. So at that point, out of 5, what would we give Drasil of approval? I think it's a 3. I think it's like right down the middle. It's what we expect for a tournament bout, especially considering that Max was a new character at that point and we didn't know a whole lot about him.
Yeah.
And maybe I'd push it to a 3.5 just because it's a different kind of strategy than what we've seen so far. So then so I'm 3.5. Where are you at?
3.5 as well.
Okay. So then we go into episode 6, which is Dragoon Storm. So this is the final semifinals before the final match. And we obviously know Tyson's going, but now he gets to face the mysterious Ray, who is the kid who's been talking to Mr. Dickinson the whole time. And apparently he's been scoping out big players like Max and Tyson and Kai, and isn't too impressed with them. Now, the funny thing is that where Max and Kai's bout had a unique arena, they go back to the original for Tyson and Ray.
Which is weird.
You think that, especially considering that I'm just going to spoil this right here now, the finals has a unique arena too. And so it's just like, apparently they don't like Tyson and Ray because they went back to a classic bowl. I don't know why. In the finals, they go up against each other, and we get to learn a little bit more about Ray and his fighting style, which is pretty aggressive, like Tyson's. But I would like to say that he's a little bit of a smarter fighter when it comes to Beyblade battles. Like he doesn't get in overzealous or anything like that. Where Tyson's way too gung ho, like Dragoon, finish it. Mm-hmm. Ray waits for his moment. Mm-hmm. Which is appropriate because his pet beast is a tiger known as Drigger. So at that point, it's almost like he's basically adopting his tiger traits and waiting for the opportunity to strike. And I like Drigger. I just don't like the color that they manifest him in. It's like a really weird pale green, and compared to like the fiery red of Dronzer, and I even like the purple of Drasil and the blue of Dragoon, the green's just like, this should be more like emerald green.
Yeah, that's true.
And also, I'm not sure if I like the name Drigger, But yeah, there you go. So they have a bit of a fight, and we get tiger claws being thrown around as well as dragon claws, and eventually it's a long, hard fought battle, but Tyson does win in the end through being able to still survive while Ray continues to pour like as soon as he finds his opportunity, he just has an onslaught of attacks. And so I remember like Kenny in the audience going, I don't know if if Tyson's Beyblade's going to hold out because he just kept on hitting him hard. But somehow Dragoon pulls it off. So and we got basically what we kind of expected to have happen. It's going to be Kai and Tyson in the finals. So there's not really a whole lot to go into aside from that. It's just basically a hard fought battle where Ray doesn't really trust Tyson as a good fighter, but then as the fight progresses, Tyson earns his trust and he appreciates him at the end of the fight. That's pretty much it. So, I mean, anything you want to add to this episode?
It's just kind of too bad. He's like, oh, I'm just going to forfeit the match.
That's right. He did forfeit eventually because he realized that, yeah, he would still lose against Dragoon. So he underestimated what Tyson was capable of.
It's like, well, at least.
But he didn't get angry about it. He was like, okay, all right, I'm okay with this.
This is funny, though.
So, out of 5, what would we give Dragoon Storm? I actually do think this is about a 3.5 as well, because it showcases the unknown is having a smarter strategy than Tyson does. And so at that point, Tyson then has to adapt. And I also love the fact that during all of this, I think it was this one where we had the surprise birthday dinner for Tyson, or was that the finals? It might have been the finals.
I think it was
the finals, because there's a lot more birthday boy jokes in the finals.
Yeah, and besides, this is also the one where Tyson had to go and get his Beyblade fixed because I think Drigger...
Oh, that's right, yeah. He had to get some ball bearings or something like that.
And he's like, well, then I guess he must hopefully he can be able to fix it. And Kenny's the one who had was a special piece that...
Right, because they were testing it out, and so it was still kind of experimental. Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, Ray turned out to be more of a threat than Tyson even realized, which I do like that. You know, the mystery guy isn't just immediately thrown off, kind of like they did with Carlos. He still is very much a threat, but now he's a respectable threat because he likes the fact that Tyson gave him a challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd give this a 3.5. I think it was still a hard fought match, just in a different way.
Yeah.
So then we go into episode 7, 13 Candles. I didn't even know that was the episode title. That would have been the hint that it was the birthday. Yeah, so right before the finals, they decide to celebrate Tyson's 13th birthday. And this is where we also kind of get a lot of insight from his grandpa as to how much growth Tyson has had over the last few days, where he's become a little bit more committed as opposed to being a lazy kid. And so his grandpa's very proud of him, but they are getting ready for the finals. And they even invite Kai to take part in the birthday dinner, but Kai, being Kai, abruptly refuses and says, I'll meet you out there. And this is, again, where it's weird because Tyson and Ray did not get a unique Beyblade arena, but Tyson and Kai did. Apparently Mr. Dickinson just takes Ray. I don't know. I mean, he has to pay for this shit, right? So they go in, and basically the difference here is that it's a normal Beyblade bowl, but there's an I can't remember if it was electrified, but there was a fence.
Well, I thought it was like a cage match.
Yeah, it was basically a cage match. And so, but I don't think there was a gimmick to the fence.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just there for...
Yeah, so basically this is a winner takes all kind of deal, because it's a cage match between the two of them, and we have a brawl in this fight. We have moments where Dronzer is on the ropes, but then puts Dragoon on the ropes. I especially love that we had the shonen trope of you never start trying until you start taking something off. And so in the case of one of the things knocking Kai back, Guy's like, oh, I guess I get to try now. And he takes his gloves or his bracers off. And now Geronzer's more powerful.
The gloves are off.
Yes, literally. This is such a Dragon Ball trope. Is like you only know that Goku's really trying when his shirt comes off, kind of thing. And that's basically what happened here. Although I would have loved for them to respectfully show me how Kai had just massive pecs at the age of 12. I'd love to have that answered, but we basically have a huge back and forth battle between the two of them where it could easily go either way, because I think the way it goes is like first to 3 wins. We had Tyson getting a point, then Kai started trying, he got a point, and the final one was basically given to Tyson, and Tyson won the tournament. But the interesting part is that even though Kai is noticeably disappointed that he lost, Mr. Dickinson comes out and explains the purpose of the tournament. It was not necessarily to crown a new champion, it was to create a new team to represent Japan. I think they said America, didn't they?
Who knows?
I can't remember, but they're representing Japan, people. To represent the nation of Japan in the World Championship Beyblade, or the Beyblade World Championships. And even though we never get this mentioned until the next episode, their team gets known as the Blade Breakers, and the team is going to compose of the people who made it to the semifinals. So, Kai, being the former champion, will be the team leader. We will have Tyson, we will have Ray, and we will have Max. Kai is noticeably thrilled by this.
And he gets to be the captain.
He is the captain because Mr. Dickinson basically begs him to be the captain, saying, you have all this experience, now you need to teach them how to be able to win on the world stage. And so Kai, he basically inflates Kai's ego, and Kai takes it. Ray is more excited about it because now he has newfound respect for Tyson. He's gained some respect for Max. So at that point, it's almost like they're giving Kai the title of team captain as an honorary title, and Ray feels more like the team captain because we're going to find this out next episode, but he's had a lot more experience on the world stage. So at that point, it's an interesting setup. How do you feel about these 4 coming together to form the Blade Breakers?
It's exciting. I'm thrilled.
Thrilled about?
I'm just thrilled.
I'm give me a description here.
Well, how can I be more thrilled?
Explain what is making you thrilled.
You're just gonna have 4 people who practically probably wouldn't be able to work as a team, and
Well, you have 3 of them that can.
Well, yeah. But
it's just that 4th one. That's the problem.
But it's just going to be fun when you get to see them work out their differences and work as a team.
And then they'll create new differences. And I'll admit, I do like the aesthetic here, because then at that point, Kai can be a little bit more humbled. We also do learn a little bit more about Kai's backstory. Apparently his father was a dick. And apparently his father was Seto Kaiba, is basically what happened, where power is everything. And so at that point, when Kai loses, he feels like he has disrespected his father or his family.
Dishonored them.
He's dishonored them. And maybe he's further dishonored them because he's joined a filthy team. But so we get a little bit more to be able to go through during the World Championships. But it is an interesting team setup. So we'll see what happens. But out of 5, what would we give 13 Candles?
I give it a
4. 4. It's basically what you would expect of a finals, where we do get to have a lot of back and forth. And considering that Kai and Tyson are basically the Goku and Vegeta of this series, we get to have that back and forth in a way that is compelling. Because, like I said, as soon as Kai gets knocked back, of course he takes off his bracers and now he's trying. whereas opposed to the previous round, he wasn't trying at all.
Yeah, because he figured he wasn't going to be beat, but now he's like,
Right.
okay, I am going to...
Now I'm going to kick your ass.
I'm taking off the training wheels.
Pretty much. Yeah, I give it a 4, but I've seen final matches that are better than this, so it's nothing against it, considering that what we're dealing with, it was fine, but just the basic stakes of Goku versus Vegeta, nah, I've seen it, and I've probably seen it better. So now we can get into the final episode, episode 8, which is Bladen in the Streets. So now officially, because they are all a team now, Max, Ray, Tyson, and Kai all head to Hong Kong and immediately start, because I guess there's going to be a little tournament in Hong Kong to showcase the world scene, and Mr. Dickinson can let them learn what they need to. And obviously one of the problems that we have is that the captain role has gone to Kai's head, and he's immediately trying to be a parent to the other 3. It's not really working out. And
mostly,
thus it's pissing off Kai.
Yeah, but I think it's mostly for Tyson and
Tyson and Max. Ray is kind of staying out of it. Although, like, Ray's just trying to, like, be part of the excitement. He's like, I'm glad you're excited for this. I love Hong Kong. Da 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 da. And then Kai is just like, sit up straight, Tyson. We represent Japan. We have to give a better image than that.
Well, and especially
it's all kind of stupid.
Well, and especially at the beginning, it's like the typical Tyson running late and almost missing.
Oh, it's for the Asian tournament. That's what it was. But yeah, it's supposed to showcase some of the opponents that we'll have. Ray also does mention quite a bit in the plane that you're going to be entering a whole new world of Beyblade.
Oh, wait, he wasn't on the plane though.
Yeah, he was.
Wait, which one? Ray?
Ray, yeah, all 4 of them were, plus Mr. Dickinson.
No, I thought Ray wasn't there. He was already in Hong Kong.
No, he shows up on the plane, like, once.
Then I must have missed that.
Then they go to Hong Kong and immediately go to a Chinese restaurant that Ray works at. And so he basically serves them all dinner, and then he joins them for a team meeting where Mr. Dickinson explains, like, this is going to be a whole new type of Beyblading that you're not used to, and that you need to pay attention, you need to keep your guard up and stuff like that. Whereas Kai is trying to tell them to start basically being more mature, and Kai gets yelled out of the room, or rather, he gets fed up and he walks off. This is where Ray, Max, and Tyson kind of go off on their own and go and explore. And I can't remember how exactly this happens, but I think somebody's wallet was stolen. Can't remember.
Say what?
Oh, that's right. When he stormed off of the Chinese restaurant, Kai quit the team.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling this is going to be a thing. Kai's going to quit the team a lot. But no, they basically hear a Beyblade spinning and go to a back alley where they find a Beyblader who is wanting to challenge Tyson. And I think ultimately basically what happens is they challenge Tyson to a match. Dragoon actually does win, but it was just basically a ruse for the leader of this new Beyblade gang, who's part of the Asian tournament team, to see what Tyson is capable of. And even Kai kind of mentions you shouldn't have done that because now people are going to know about you and they're going to start preparing for you. So at that point, like, we basically it's a whole new world. And apparently the new boy that was wanting to see Dragoon was a boy named Kevin. And so, yeah. Or actually, no. Did Tyson win? No, Tyson didn't win. That's right. The character Takao did, because they were battling in his, like, Chinese walk.
Mm-hmm.
And because he deals more fiercely than Dragoon, he wins. And all according to this one, because I completely forgot it, he hits Ray with Dragoon. Yeah. So at that point, yeah. So basically a gauntlet has been thrown where Tyson needs to prove himself against Takao and Kevin. And yeah, so basically kind of setting things up for a grander array of opponents, and the skill curve has gone up, and Tyson now needs to adapt to that. So what did we think of blading in the streets? Wow, I can't say it that way because pro wrestling blading means a whole other thing. So I liked it because it's basically like we already knew Kai wasn't on board with the team idea, and so it just lets Kai kind of be Kai and lets the other three kind of get to know each other.
He will just go and storm off when he ever gets a
Guarantee you, every round he's going to quit.
And then he'll unquit, and then he'll quit again.
Oh yeah, like I double triple quit on Tundra. What does that mean? I don't know. Yeah, I think that's going to be a thing of Kai's, especially since Kai is always the more serious one. And I have a feeling that's going to be part of his background, but we don't really learn a whole lot of background with anybody aside from the fact that Ray has apparently done a lot of these back alley Beyblade tournaments before. And so at that point, like, he's got a little bit of experience. And we also do learn that Takao and Kevin actually do know who Ray is.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, kind of hinting at some of Ray's past, but Max and Tyson, obviously, they have a learning curve now.
Mm-hmm.
Out of 5, what would we give Blading in the Streets? 3?
I would give it a 3.
It's a basic explanation. It's nothing. This is why we did this as a marathon night, guys, because with 51 episodes, like, there's going to be episodes where we have to explain the new stakes. We have to explain what we're getting into now and stuff like that. So this is like right down the middle, but it's still enjoyable because we're still having a lot of gags and the team aesthetic is not working out. And so we're laughing at the fact that everybody thinks Kai's emo and Sky's emo. So at that point, yeah, we had good episodes this time around. Overall, it was very cool to be able to end this tournament and end it right with some really good battles, because you can easily have a tournament that's kind of bleh. And
it's like the
and for all the people who go like, well, shonen tournaments don't. Yes, they do. There are tournaments that suck in shonen anime. I've seen a few of them. They exist. This wasn't one of them, is all I'm saying. So at that point, yeah, I'm happy about it. Any final thoughts you want to give on these?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
I don't think.
So at that point, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. So when we come back, we'll get into episodes 9 through 12. I have a feeling we'll have at least the first round of the Asian Championship and be able to see maybe some other adversaries that we have to go up against. But until then, thank you guys so much for listening in. We're already having fun doing this, right?
Yeah.
8 episodes in, having a lot of fun, laughing our butts off. This has been worth it so far. But hopefully you guys are enjoying it too. And if you are, you can check out the previous episode on YouTube. And you can give it a like and a subscribe to be able to check out when we're going live for our streaming content and things like that. Or if you're listening just via the podcast, welcome. You can also listen on other podcast platforms like Spotify, Player.fm, Amazon, Google, and Apple Podcasts as well. And we appreciate any likes, subscribes, any reviews, anything like that, because we do actually want to be able to hear your feedback so that we can continue to improve. And yeah, we'll see you guys for episodes 9 through 12. Until then, have a happy new year, guys. We'll see you in 2024 for some more freaking Beyblade. It's your turn, do it.
No.